Stampin' Sharon. I have a fall card for you today, and I think you're going to love the colors and you're going to love my inspiration. Just wait till you see where I came up with this card from. If you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you. I invite you to subscribe by hitting the button below and then hit that notification bell. You'll be notified the next time I upload video. If I can ever help anyone with their Stampin' Up needs, let me know. What inspires you when you're making your cards? Well, I love to look at the catalog, and of course there's Pinterest and things like that, and these YouTube videos. I spotted this straight away when I got my catalog, and I'm like, I want to make that, but I don't have those, I think they're called scripty font dies. So I was like, I just kept coming back to it, and I looked at all the samples and everything, and I decided today, why don't we make a card using this as our inspiration? Here's my version of what inspired me, and let me point out the elements. First of all, I loved the colors. I decided not to go with the softer Pear Pizzazz pumpkins, but instead to pull in the Pretty Peacock ink with my pumpkins. And then there are the little sprigs that are stamped back there. And of course the green leaves, well, Copper Girl here, she wanted her copper leaves. So I did that. And then I honestly thought that that was a pumpkin, a leaf back there, like this leaf, but it was this thing right here. So I went ahead and added it. So let's make this card together. Here is the Gather Together stamp set and the dies that cut out the leaves and the pumpkins. I used those stitch rectangle dies to give me my picture frame, okay? And I used the largest one, and then I skipped and I used the next one, okay, to cut out the middle. And then I cut the small square one over here. I guess it's still rectangle, but it's pretty close to square. I use that for my sentiment layer. We're going to stamp our pumpkins on shimmery white cardstock because we're going to add a little bit of water to that paper, and we don't want it to peel or pill up, I guess is the word. And of course, these are photopolymer, so I am using my paper piercing mat to give me that cushion that does not come with photopolymer stamps. We're going to take our aqua painter. We're just going to kind of squeeze the bulb a little bit. Yeah, that was a little bit too much. And then we're just going to color. You could leave them plain if you wanted to, but like I said, I wanted more of this Pretty Peacock color. It's just like magic, isn't it? Easy watercoloring. I've taken watercolor classes before. I'm sure that lady prays I never come back. I'm not a very light-handed watercolor person. I kind of get a little heavy. Kept telling her I ran out of paint. We're going to set that aside to dry, and we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. Since we have everything right here. I'm telling you, this Pretty Peacock is gorgeous. I love this color. Okay, we'll set that aside. I have my copper leaves already cut out. Let me tell you, I'm so crazy about these copper leaves that I have a bunch of them stored inside of here with the stamps. It's like I cut some and I go, oh, that doesn't really work, Sharon. You're gonna have to take the copper leaves off of that, and I'm like, oh man. All right, so I want to point out the dimensions. And this is the paper from the Come Together suite. It is 5 inches by 3 3/4. Now I know that's not my normal matting size, but that's what my frame measured. So if I cut this at 4 by 5 1/4, you would be able to see the DSP hanging out of the frame. Not attractive. So before we go any further, we want to just place our frame. I'm not adhering it yet. I'm just placing it. and I want to do some stamping. I figured out really quickly that I needed to know my area to stamp in. You know, had to get another piece of paper because I messed up. All right, so we're just gonna place one here. I am using Cajun Craze. One here and one right there. Okay, so we're all set for that. And then we're actually going to add our leaves now. And I found that these leaves really go on better with liquid glue because they're pretty forgiving if you need to slide them around. Liquid glue is great for beginners or for those of us who need to slide things around. Okay, so we're going to add this leaf like this, kind of at an angle. And then we're going to add this leaf, and I'm going to pull in my frame again because I want to make sure I can see my leaf. See what I mean about sliding it around? There. Okay, so we're done really with eyeballing that. We're going to set all this aside. Now, you know my trick for using copper foil. Only cut a piece as big as your leaf. Okay, you don't want to ruin, what is it my friend Judith says, is that the marring on my well-loved cutting plates would leave little notches in there if I cut it too big. So if you just put a big piece in, it's going to mess it up. And then you want to take a paper piercer and you want to get that started. And when you do, you're literally pulling off plastic. You see the plastic? You're pulling plastic off. So you want to take all that plastic off. If you have any paper left, that's okay, but the plastic is what's so hard to cut through with our dies. We're going to pull in our sentiment layer and we're going to flip it over. And we're going to add some dimensionals. Now, typically on a piece of cardstock this size, I would only use 2, but because I'm going to be adding that thread, that baker's twine, I needed to make sure, because it's kind of thick, okay? So I'm only going to take off 2 of the pieces for now. And then we're going to get our twine. And we're just going to tap it there. I'm going to loop it, tap it here. Loop it. So we're really only sticking the baker's twine to 2 of them. Yes, I could probably use Scotch tape, but I would have to go find that because it's not usually on my craft table. Cut this piece off, and then I'm going to loop that back around. Okay, now we're ready to take off the other 2. Just kind of look at it, see if we're happy. Yeah, I'm happy. All right, let's start assembling our card. So the first thing we're going to do is add our designer series paper layer. What do y'all think? You think my card looks like the picture frame? It doesn't have to look the same. It's just whatever inspires us. You know, sometimes we might look at a stamp set and we go, oh, I don't know what to do with that. So I'm going to turn this over and we're going to pull in our foam strips. I honestly want to tell you that I have only used these strips when I am making shaker cards. And today I was like, I need it to pop up like it's a frame. So there we have it. I did use Whisper White Thick because it needs to be sturdy enough to stand up like this. You know, I didn't want it to bend. And I have found using the foam like this, where I'm doing a solid all the way around, it kind of buckles a little bit, and it does that more with the thinner Whisper White paper. I will still be able to mail this. However, it will probably cost me more postage because this is thicker. It just depends on the machine. But I'm okay with that. I will probably put this in one of the clear cello envelopes that Stampin' Up sells, and that way it might help protect it in case it was to get caught on the postal machines. Okay, now we're ready to add this embellishment, or add our sentiment layer. So I've cut out my pumpkins, and I decided that liquid glue was the easiest way to put these on. Now, I noticed that that is crooked, but you know what? I'm going to teach you how to fix it. Where it's sticking to the copper, it's easier to lift up. And I'm finding that it's pretty easy to lift up, period. But I think it's because I have that thread on there. However, if it hadn't have come off, I would have taken my snips and cut the dimensionals. So, didn't have to actually show you my trick, but we got to fix the card. Okay. That was my inspiration.
Well, what did you think? I was so proud of myself once again for coming up with where my inspiration was, because then it's so much easier to share that with you. So, happy stamping, y'all.